and welcome to part 4 of building a house on my own land. Previously, we talked about stick-built, modular, and manufactured homes. We've kind of gone over the differences, but in today's episode, we wanted to show you some other options besides traditional stick building, traditional modular homes, and manufactured homes.
So it kind of depends on how involved you want to be in preparing a house, a place to live. So these are some options that you have where you can do a lot of the work yourself, but you don't have to do all of it. So
that sounds good to me.
So the first thing is shell homes. There are companies who will sell you a shell. That's basically all it is. I have never seen wood ones. I've only seen the metal kind of buildings, but the contractor will pour a foundation for you, or you can do that yourself with a shell home, and they put the building up, and then they leave the rest of it up to you.
So you're putting up all the walls, is that correct?
Yes.
And
yes.
You're probably finishing the drywall and taking care of the flooring and the interior.
Yes, and probably
like
insulation and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So really all you have is just an exterior and a roof, and maybe some doors and windows, depending on the options that they have available.
So you can avoid the whole framing part,
yes,
basically, and building the exterior portion, and you're really down to what, especially for people who want to build their own homes. They have some of these skills. They don't mind probably subbing out some, the stuff that they absolutely have to, but like my husband likes doing drywall and painting, and you know what I mean? Like he likes getting his hands dirty and putting as much of his own labor in as he can. So with a home like that, you could.
And depending on where it is, depending on where your property is, you could conceivably live in it while you were doing that. I'm not sure how comfortable that would be, but depends on what time of year it is, I suppose. Anyway, so that's one of the options that you have. And then there are container homes. I have seen a whole lot of YouTube videos of watching these people create their own container home, and some of them are really pretty nice, and they're very inventive. And containers are sort of everywhere. You can buy a container for $3,000 to $5,000, and depending on the size it is, they're all like 8 feet wide and 8 feet tall, and varying lengths. So my husband and I happen to have a container that we use for storage, and it is 8 by 8 by 20. And they make great storage units because they are really tight. I mean, and they're metal, so that means bugs don't get in and rodents don't get in.
You're not worried about things chewing their way in or making holes and stuff like that.
Right.
So they're very sturdy. So the things to keep in mind with container homes is, where are you getting the containers from? Can you be sure that there was nothing toxic or chemically related that was being transported in that container? But other than that,
well, and you can get insulated ones because they have the refrigerated ones that are already insulated, or you can get the regular kind that you have to insulate yourself, and you have to get it to your own property. The shell home, the contractor will deliver it to you, but the containers, you will have to figure out a way to get them there. One of the issues with them is the fact that they're very tight, so you have to have a ventilation system that functions, because otherwise you have issues with, if you're gonna have a wood stove or something, with the drawing
proper fresh air into the house.
And but there are, I saw this thing that said that there are more than 23 million containers sitting in ports all over the world. And
that's interesting, isn't it?
And it's cheaper, amazingly enough, it's cheaper for them to buy new containers than melt down the ones they have and make new ones, or, you know, whatever.
Transport them back.
Or refurbish them. Yes, and transporting them back,
It's
too.
cheaper for them to just build a new one than to transport it back to
Yes.
its country of origin.
Yes.
That's interesting. So it really is a nice option if you are trying to be more, what's the word, environmentally conscious.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they're very
reusing,
green. They're very green, yes. And so the next option is a tiny home. I'm not sure I could live in 300 square feet.
Now, Deborah, why could you not live in 300 square feet? I've got a big family. My kids it would look like the Von Trapps in The Sound of Music. They'd be hanging out of the windows. Okay?
No, I love my husband, but that's just a little close for me. Although he likes to work out in the yard, so he'd always be outside, so, you know, that would be okay. But I don't know. I just don't think that I could function in that small of a space.
I'd imagine that if it was movable, you know, like some of them come on wheels, you can park them on your land, and then when you want to go up to Montana to see the elk or something, you take it with you, and then you come back and park it.
And a lot of people do that. They build them on a trailer platform, and then they can take them anywhere that they go. But you can put them on a foundation and put them on your property. You know, and all of these options too, you know, you have to check with your local zoning and, you know, rules and regulations and stuff to make sure that they're viable options where you live.
And that's one of those things that's constantly evolving, because tiny homes are still relatively new to the market, because they don't classify the same necessarily as a trailer, like a travel trailer.
Right.
So you really do need to do your research. That's why people like doing that kind of thing in New Mexico, because we still do have these open kind of areas that have no zoning.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to live in a tiny home, park it for 6 months out of the year, have a garden, live there and enjoy it, they could.
Yes.
And then hook it back up and go see the grandkids, you know, 300 miles away for, you know, the summer, and then come back or whatever they want to do.
Yeah. And so the last option that we have for you is a home kit, because you can buy, if you're the kind of person that knows that you're not going to be able to gather up everything that you need to build something, then a home kit might be the thing for you. They come with everything you need, except that you do have to be careful that you make sure that you know what they come with, because sometimes they don't come with a foundation or a roof. And so you just need to investigate and make sure that what you're getting is what you want. And but if you want to build it yourself, and they're going to give you they're not going to give you the tools, okay, but they're going to give you all of the supplies, all the materials.
Because I've seen some online where they come with everything but the finishing touches. So you might still put cabinets in.
Yeah.
You know, or flooring.
Right.
You know, things like that.
Yeah. So. But that's an option too. So there you have it.
So maybe we need to do a follow-up video on some of these home kits. Not saying I'm going to go buy a home kit and sample a few, but I think there are some ways that we can take a look at them in a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and see what there is out there.
Thank you very much for joining us, and please subscribe and like our videos.
Thank you.